close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence and hold space.
Namo Namo
Namaste. Welcome to our weekly online Satsang. Satsang being a gathering of two or more people on the path of awakening and flowering in oneness with Source and with all that is. And that's us. We come from different spiritual backgrounds, different teachers and teachings, different parts of the world to these Flowering Heart Satsangs. And what we have in common is that we're all sharing this amazing journey of the transformation and ascension of consciousness. And so we're so glad you're here. Because at some point we have to come together with others on the path to really keep growing and evolving and transforming. So satsang/spiritual community is an essential ingredient in all of our paths. And we can do it using the internet. Isn't that amazing? The internet's used for so many unappetizing things. but satsangs and spiritual gatherings and processes and communities, what a wonderful opportunity to join together across all kinds of boundaries, different continents and countries with various obstacles to connect. We transcend all that here. And we're so glad you are with us. Yes. Yep. More says, happy to be here. We're happy you're here too. Much love. So, throughout these webcast satsangs, we share a transmission of divine grace called the Flowering Heart Blessing. It's a direct transmission of awakened consciousness, unconditional love and light and grace from the divine source itself, given as a gift from the divine to catalyze awakening in us. And if we're already awakening, to dissolve and remove obstacles and to hasten the journey. If we're already awakened, to take us deeper. Because as I say often, maybe every week, awakening isn't a destination. It's an ongoing, endless process of expansion. So there's always more to come. We like to open it at the beginning to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. Maybe you've got an answer. But if you look inside and just ask that presence deep within you, is there something you might ask where you'd like more clarity, you'd like some light on an idea? Maybe it's something you're encountering in meditation or something you're wondering about concerning the process of awakening or divine union or past lives or who knows what. There's so much. If it has to do with spirituality and the spiritual journey, feel free to ask. And if we don't know the answer, we just kind of gently look up on the inside and the divine always pours out inspiration and insight for me and Suzanne to share with you. So while you're thinking about that, because that's your part of the satsang, I'm going to read a couple of things tonight. One is part of an email. I'm on the newsletter of a spiritual teacher. You may have heard of Matt Kahn and his partner Joy. And they're spiritual teachers. I think they're headquartered in the northwestern United States, but they're all over the place. And they're quite amazing. And every once in a while, one of his weekly newsletters reaches out and speaks to me in a way I want to share with you. So here's this. The title is, "The Energy is Intense Out There. Are you feeling it too? Are you feeling this energy too? As we turn the page out of an old societal paradigm and into a brand new chapter, experiences of entropy can be felt as we process this shift into new timelines. If entropy is a new term, it means the energy of endings. From an evolutionary cycle perspective, the feeling or experience of death always comes before the emergence of new births of creation. For some, they're feeling the residue of post-election entropy. For others, it is the processing of deeper layers of grief for loved ones, holding space for our ascension on the other side. This experience can also include a sense of disillusionment, when everything you've put your heart and soul into trying hasn't manifested the change you desire for the life you were born to love. This may include feelings of exhaustion, heaviness, an inability to trust decisions, disruptions in sleep patterns, irritability toward the patterns active in yourself and others, a desire to isolate, feelings of invisibility, unworthiness, doubt in a higher cosmic plan, and overall hopelessness. These symptoms highlight a stage of entropy and emergence where the versions of self you've embodied for many years dissolve back to source as new versions prepare to enter. Joy and our processing of this energy includes saying goodbye to our 14-year-old Shih Tzu, Chewy, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge last weekend. No matter which of the symptoms resonate most, we've been sensing a growing number of you whose souls are screaming out for you to move forward, but without a clear understanding of how or where to begin. As we embrace the opportunity to glean the fiercely graceful wisdom that entropy can share, we allow our lives to become primed and prepared for the arrival of new beginnings by how directly we meet our feelings. Whether we're able to be grateful for all that came and is ready to go, or can barely muster the courage to process discomfort, even when the fear of numbing emotions or instinctively turning away runs so deep. Live brightly, Matt and Joy Khan. And after that, they were offering a teleconference and a course, and you can always Google Matt and Joy Khan, K-A-H-N, and you'll get more information. So I just wanted to share that with you because that energy of transformation and those feelings of entropy are definitely bouncing around out there, and you've probably felt it in some way or another, maybe whether it was your sleep pattern shifting or what. I lost a dear friend. I don't think I shared about that last week. 92 years old, a man of God, a tremendously wise man, whom I deeply appreciate and will miss being here. 10 years or so ago, he gave me a ring as a present. It's a solid gold ring. It has a black triangle in it with a Hebrew letter, the letter Yod. And the letter Yod in Hebrew is the first letter of Yahweh or Jehovah or the Tetragrammaton, or however you've come to understand that name of the divine that was given to Moses. And that letter Yod is often used in Kabbalistic teaching and practice to denote just God straight out, Yod. And so after I heard that my friend had passed away, I was surprised, and we had to go somewhere, and I reached in the dresser drawer in our totally darkened bedroom to pull out what I thought was my wedding ring. And I slipped it on my finger, and when I got out in the light, I saw I didn't have my wedding ring on. I had this gold ring that my friend had given me more than 10 years ago. And
the day after he passed.
He gave it to me more than 10 years ago.
No, but you did this the day after
Yes.
he passed. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure where I slipped up.
Oh, you didn't slip up. It was a detail you didn't add.
I just heard that my friend had passed.
Right.
And I was kind of surprised, and we had to go somewhere, and I got this ring and put it on, and I heard this like little voice whisper to me, read the inscription. Now, I knew 10 years ago that there was an inscription inside this ring, and that it was in Latin, and I never really bothered to look at it. I should have, of course. And this little voice said, read the inscription. And I read it, and it says in Latin, that which virtue has united, death cannot separate. It was a direct message from my 92-year-old friend. Don't worry, Michael. We've been joined through spiritual virtue, and death cannot separate us. It's like, wow. But heard of another, and I won't go into any details, another very close friend in the ministry that I worked with for years had passed away. And we have a friend living with us here on the property. His father just passed away. And there's been a lot of letting go of loved ones going on. And that may not be the entropy you're experiencing. I mean, for Matt and Joy Kahn, it was their 14-year-old Shih Tzu named Chewy. You know, and when you're really in love with a dog, that can be a big deal. But that kind of energy of things passing on and having to let go of them has been rippling through the space. So I wanted to share that. Okay, well, on another note, I have 13 quotes to celebrate Native American heritage. And this, I take these from inspiringquotes.com. Wonderful website. You can get on their newsletter, and these authors create these just very brief articles that are timely, and then lists of quotes from influential people throughout history that shed light on those subjects. This one is by an author we haven't shared from, I think, up to now, Darren Orff. Darren lives in Portland, Oregon, and has 2 cats, and writes about science, technology, nature, and history. So here's what he has to say about the Native American legacy, heritage. Indigenous culture and wisdom flourish in every facet of American society. Some sayings from famous leaders such as Tecumseh and Crazy Horse echo down through the ages, while modern artists, athletes, and astronauts add their own voices to a growing chorus. These 13 quotes from notable Native American figures throughout history exhibit the unique insight of these first peoples and celebrate their indispensable role in the story of America. And so we dive in. Sorrow eats time. Be patient. Time eats sorrow. Louise Erdrich. Louise is a member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians and author of several books, including the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, The Night Watchman. When it comes to your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. Chief Tecumseh. Shawnee Chief Tecumseh led the Native American forces during the War of 1812. The Holy Land is everywhere. Black Elk. Black Elk was a medicine man of the Oglala Lakota people and a relative of Crazy Horse. As long as you remember what you have seen, then nothing is gone. As long as you remember, it is a part of this story we have together. Leslie Marmon Silko. Leslie Marmon Silko is a member of the Laguna Pueblo and author of several works of poetry and prose, including her most famous work, the 1977 novel, Ceremony. What you see on the surface is never the same again once you begin to plumb the depths. Joan Quick to See Smith. Joan Quick to See Smith is a visual artist and a member of the Salish and Kootenai tribes. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Joy Harjo. Muskogee musician, poet, and author, Joy Harjo was also named the first Native American U.S. Poet Laureate. I do not think the measure of a civilization is how tall its buildings of concrete are, but rather how well its people have learned to relate to their environment and fellow man. Sun Bear. Sun Bear was a Chippewa teacher, healer, and author of 9 books. We are fortunate to inhabit this jewel in the cosmos, and it is our responsibility to take care of it. John B. Harrington. John B. Harrington is a member of the Chickasaw Nation and the first Native American astronaut in space. Use your own unique perspective and try to contribute and not just consume. Nicholas Galinan. Nicholas Galinan is a Tlingit and Uniga artist. Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Chief Sion. Duwamish Chief Sion was the namesake of Seattle, Washington. Very often you are in the right place at the right time, but you don't know it. Maria Tallchief. Maria Tallchief was a member of the Osage Nation and one of the all-time greatest American ballerinas. You have to look deeper, way below the anger, the hurt, the hate, the jealousy, the self-pity, way down deeper where the dreams lie. Find your dream. It's the pursuit of the dream that heals you. Billy Mills. Billy Mills is a member of the Oglala Sioux and U.S. Olympic gold medalist in track and field. And this is my favorite of the list. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, and I am at that place within me, we shall be one. Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse was a Lakota leader of the Oglala Band and a victorious commander at the Battle of Little Bighorn. I salute the light within your eyes. And when you're in that place at the center of your being where the universe dwells, and I'm at that place, we're one. Wow. It's like, that's something somebody said a week ago, or a year ago, or this decade. Such wisdom.
I like that they told who the people were. That was nice.
Yeah, I usually don't read the ones that do that because the explanations are like a full paragraph. These were short enough, and it was important to get some insight into who these people were who had such wisdom and insight to share with us. So, Morey writes, do you believe in reincarnation? I guess I'll just be straightforward. Yes, I do. I don't believe it's mandatory. I believe there may be some souls who just come here once and then they're done and they move on to some other plane of existence or merge with the light. Certainly. But there's just too much evidence. I mean, my awakening journey began with an experience when I was 17 years old, and I experienced several hundred years in less than a second. And through those hundreds of years, I didn't just see it, I experienced living multiple lifetimes in different places in time and space. I went through whole lifetimes, lived, died, passed on. And when I came back into this here and now, I was astonished, and I felt I was all those things. Some were noble, and some were far from noble. It was life-shattering, and it's taken my whole life since then to come to terms with the light that I saw and experiencing the past, present, and the future simultaneously. Most, I think, at least the spiritual, mystical spiritual traditions do believe in reincarnation. And that includes the early church. Many of the church fathers of the Christian church in the beginning, like Origen, a great teacher, believed in what they called the transmigration of souls, which was just another word for reincarnation. And Jesus' brother, St. James, who wrote the flesh and blood relative of Jesus, wrote the Epistle of St. James and was the first bishop of the Church of Jerusalem. He said that the tongue is so powerful, it's the most powerful member of our bodies, and it controls and sets on fire the wheel of birth. And the term he used, wheel of birth, from the current Greek that many people were speaking in that part of the world, was understood to mean the wheel of rebirth, of reincarnation, of death, birth, rebirth. So in their wisdom, I guess, the church fathers decided to suppress that idea and say that there's only one lifetime and then you'll be judged and given an eternal reward. And I don't think things are so cut and dry at all. There's so much evidence among Tibetan monks who are reincarnated, enlightened monks, and they'll put identical pieces in front of them, bells and bowls and different ritual items that are of the same type, look the same, from the same time period, and those children, I mean really young children, like maybe 5 years old, will say, that's mine, that was mine, that was mine, and it's hard to explain it any other way than that those items were theirs and they remembered it, and that's one of the ways that Tibetan monks have used to recognize their brothers and sisters who passed on and reincarnated, because their tradition teaches reincarnation and the bodhisattva ideal of enlightened beings coming back to help the residue of humanity reach liberation before they will ever fully leave the world. They'll keep coming back. So yeah, I could tell you lots more stories about that from the Hindu tradition in India, and how Hindu masters, and I'll be done after this, have come back and presented so much evidence to the Indian government that they're the reincarnation of some enlightened Swami or Guru, that the Indian government has given them back their lands and their ashrams, very valuable stuff. And can you imagine how they'd look on you in the West if you said, I'm the reincarnation of George Washington and I want Mount Vernon given to me? You know, it wouldn't happen. Go ahead.
Yeah. I personally in my life have had 3 very vivid past life memories, and all 3 of them happened at a time when I was doing some activity that triggered the memory, and it was almost like my soul had a body memory that came over with it from the past lives. One time I was doing pottery and I was looking at the ocean, and I instantly knew how to do it. I was in school and my art teacher didn't know how to teach it, so she said, you guys can just play around with it. And I instantly knew how to center, and I knew how to make stuff, and I was really surprised how easy it came to me. And I looked up while I was feeling the clay, and it wasn't the ocean anymore, it was like a desert. And I looked at my hands and they were old and withered, and I had long blackish gray hair, and I was a Native American woman throwing pottery with an adobo kiln, and my granddaughter was loading the kiln. And I remembered looking at her. I think I was about 17 at this time, and I remembered thinking, oh, I can't wait to be a grandmother in this life.
Teach Hridaya pottery.
And now I've got, to teach our granddaughter pottery. But that was just one of them. Another one, I would have a strong reaction whenever I would cut myself, ever since I was a small child. And there was one lifetime where I was killed that way. And after I had that, whenever I would accidentally cut myself, I would have this whole body sensation all over my body. And after I had that past life recall, I don't have that sensation anymore. It's like it was released. out of it. And the other thing, the third one I had was doing my energy balancing sessions. And one day I was working on somebody, and all of a sudden in front of me, it wasn't our living room, it was in ancient Egypt in the temple of Isis. And my energy balancing session just kind of got downloaded to me, and it took me about 3 years to figure out what it was and what it was doing. And I think that it was something that I knew a long, long time ago in Egypt that got passed down for these times right now. So I definitely believe in past lives. One thing I don't quite believe in with past lives is soul groups or soul clusters that come and go together and stay together. I know that there are some people that I meet and just instantly I know them. You know, I'm sure that's happened to all of us. Like there was one woman from Sweden in India, and we were way across a courtyard from each other, and as soon as our eyes met, we looked at each other and we both almost ran up to each other. Never met this woman before consciously in this life. And we both just hugged, and we both spontaneously said, "I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're back." And it's like I've just known her for many lifetimes. But I don't think that happens with everybody. And I mean, I think that people have that experience, but I don't think that we necessarily come in with soul clusters and like my mother was my child last time and my father was my sister. And, you know, I'm not quite so clear on that. I think that that helps limit us a little bit when we're interacting with people. And so.
I think we're part of a very large soul cluster called humanity.
Yes.
Yeah. So, in reference to me, what I was saying about Don earlier, More had written, beautiful, he must have already a new mission in his next life to come. Yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it sure would. And who knows, if I live long enough, I might get to mentor him. Yeah, and she also wrote very interesting, to some of the stories you were sharing about. We got more where those came from, but yeah.
The reason I knew that they were definitely past life recalls was because my eyes were open and I was in a completely different place and totally awake in broad daylight, and then all of a sudden I'm in this dark temple, or all of a sudden I'm in this alleyway being followed, or you know, it was so real, and explained why I could do pottery, explained why I had strong reactions to getting cut. And you know, it's interesting how once that, it's like to see is to be free, that was able to be released from my soul experience, something that still needed to be worked out here for me to be more integrated.
I guess just one more little thing. I won't tell you all the details, but I was in a temple in India, and I was looking at this painting of various incarnations of Dattatreya. Dattatreya is one of the Hindu deities that has sort of touchdowns through certain avataric incarnations over many, many years. And I thought it was very interesting to see all of that. And as I was looking at it, I started having these flashes where I was remembering previous lifetimes where I was with each one of those characters. And I thought, wow, that's intense. Could that possibly be true? How would I know? And just as I uttered that, I said it right out loud because I had a friend with me. This painting we were looking at began oozing honey, dripping down the painting. Now, this is a phenomenon that happens in India with Sri Murti's holy images sometimes from trees, but there's this honey that flows from the other side. It flows from other lokas or dimensions. It's very healing, very sweet, but right before our eyes, all this honey begins just dripping down this Sri Murti. I'm going, oh, come on. That can't be real. So I did what I shouldn't have done, and I went up to it, and I pulled it away from the wall of the temple and looked, and it was no fake. There was nothing behind it. It was amazing. And then people were talking about that miracle the next day, and I'm not saying that miracle was about me, but I was part of it. I got to see it. So, Maury writes, do you have interest to know about reptilian entities or others? A saying? Some interest because they affect us. There are various extraterrestrial civilizations that interact with humanity on some level, often in disguise. I don't have great feelings about the reptilians because their consciousness is very reptilian, you know. So yeah, I mean, there's some interest in that, and I'm mostly interested in like dancing around relationships with people that are heavily influenced by the reptilian consciousness. Yeah. And we could talk about this at another time, various extraterrestrial races, but I figure if we could just become fully human and be here on this planet and do what we're here to do, a lot of that other stuff isn't going to matter. So, thank you for asking all those great questions and inspiring this. I want to remind anyone that's dropped in to give us on Facebook Live a heart. And Maury wrote, I'm only interested in the light. Right.
Yeah.
Of course. But you can't help but notice when you're in the light when a shadow is cast. Anyway, just saying. But give us, if you're on Facebook Live, a thumbs up or a heart or whatever emoji speaks to you, and we go in at the end and see your name and send you special hugs and blessings. If you're watching in Vimeo, you just have to leave a comment in the chat. Oh, we would love to know that you were here tonight. And thank you for those that already did that. And if you're even watching this video a year after we made it, please give us a like or a love. And you know, certainly between now and next Monday, I go in a lot to look at who's watched it in the week between when we do it and when we do the next one. So, love you guys. Let's go deeper. Close your eyes. Open your hearts. And let us invoke the presence. The presence of the divine source dwells within you in all of its fullness. It's a mystery the mind can't comprehend. How could the entire universe be inside of me? And I love the fact that Crazy Horse said that. The light in your eyes is shining from the universe within you. So the entire universe is within you, and when you look inside and go to the center, you find the source itself, and it is your true essence. You are an emanation of the divine source, and it loves you unconditionally, totally. It is purely, unconditionally loving. It's not judging you or holding you at a distance until you're good enough. There is no distance between you and the divine. We live inside of the divine, and the divine lives inside of us. And we are, at our essence, one. So much of our suffering is because of the veil of illusion thrown up by the mind that makes us feel separate from each other, separate from nature, and separate from God. And the divine presence within you yearns to dissolve that veil, and through the gravitational force of pure love, draw you into the center of your being, which is God within. In this journey, the divine begins to radiate from within you, penetrating all the layers of your being, flooding your spirit with light, flooding your soul with divine inspiration, dissolving all the wrong thinking and the programming and the emotional debris, replacing it with divinely inspired thoughts and feelings and plans, shining into your physical body from within, dissolving disease and pain, and flooding you with divine life and healing, shining out into your relationships to make them right, and out through your life into the world, rippling out to infinity, affecting everyone around you. Just yield and allow and receive the presence that is pouring out within you and above you and all around you to you. Just drink it in, soak it up. The divine already knows what you need. This is not the time to have to jump through hoops or beg. Just relax and receive. Imagine, visualize that we're sitting in a circle together, a blessing circle. With your eyes closed, lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward, and let us invite the divine presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through us to all those sitting in the circle and to all the needs in their lives as it's flowing back to you through all of us. You don't need to know how. You just offer yourself as an instrument to the divine and relax, and the divine is doing it all. Now picture in the middle of our circle the translucent, beautiful blue planet Earth. And let us ask the divine to pour grace into all human hearts on planet Earth, to dissolve the veil of illusion, to cause them to light up with divine love and light and grace to help us during this time of planetary and personal and collective transformation. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now when you're ready, you relax your hands in your laps and open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Just keep gazing at least one of our eyes as we dive into the light meditation. In this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of divine light and love and grace, and it pours through our entire being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. The light, whether you can see it or not, is streaming out of our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of hearts, to cause the fires of divine love and the light of awakening to grow brighter and brighter within you. Just keep looking and see. few more minutes with us as the grace settles within. Keep meditating as long as you like, or lie down nearby in Shavasana. Shavasana is a yoga pose. You just find a nice spot and lie down on your back, comfortably. With your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open and turned upward, and just dissolve in the presence of gratitude. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine within you, and we bow to you.